Here now on the show to move on with the next topic at hand. We are now into June and into this period of post June 1st designated salary cuts or salary bonuses that teams receive from their designated roster cuts before. A little bit of context as to what I'm talking about if you have no idea what that means. Before the 2006 revision of the NFL CBA, teams that cut a player before June 1st actually had to take full remaining responsibility of the cap acceleration immediately. So they would mean that they would have to pay off those dues to the player right away in that year. And it resulted in a lot of teams just keeping those players after June and sort of having this mini free agent period, a second free agent period in June where teams would have to keep players after free agency, that first wave in March, and then after June 1st, they get to cut them because of that designation to pay them right away. Teams obviously didn't want to do that at the time, so it created this mini version of free agency again in June to where a lot of players were cut, and it sort of started this massive wave of having another free agency period in June. But now, as of 2006 and that CBA, once it was revised, now teams are able to release players or up to two players before June 1st, but with that designation of having it be a post-June 1st cut and a post-June 1st designation on the salary. So that would mean that the player would be wiped from the roster, but their base salary for that year remains on the books for salary cap purposes, obviously, until June 2nd, and they would also be able to spread out the dead money hit into this year and also into the following year rather than having to be responsible for a huge dead money charge in that year if they were to cut it. That was revised with the new CBA, and I think it works out better now. Yeah, there might not be another free agency period, after June 1st, so that excitement is gone a little bit, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it has worked out better for the NFL teams as of now. And with these post June 1st cuts, 11 teams have received some bonuses because of that, because of those designated cuts that they made. The Arizona Cardinals released DJ Humphries with that designation of the post June 1st cut. So their dead money charge will be split up into $13 million this year and about $7 million in 2025, but they will save about $16 million this year as one of the most notable ones. Also, the Baltimore Ravens with Odell Beckham Jr. not saving too much. Their bonus this year for that post-June 1st designation will only be around $1.2 million, and for them, it'll be around $10 million in dead money that they're going to have to split between this year and next year. Also, other teams that were pretty notable, they got pretty big chunks of bonuses because of these designations were the Buffalo Bills, saving around $10.2 million with their post-June 1st designation release of Tre'Davious White. He now is with the Los Angeles Rams, and that can finally be, transitioned into being official now, and he'll be on the Rams, but the Buffalo Bills will have to pay off his dead money charge, $6 million in 2024 and also $4 million in 2025, but they save a good amount of money from doing so. The Dallas Cowboys as another one, by releasing Michael Gallup, their dead money charge is $13 million spread over 2 years, so again, isn't really too bad for them this year to take it up this year, and they save about $9.5 million in 2024. And also another one that maybe isn't as beneficial, probably the worst one actually, is Denver with quarterback Russell Wilson. He technically was a post-June 1st designated release, but the dead money charge on him is exponential. It's massive for what the Denver Broncos have to pay. $53 million of a dead money charge in 2024 and another $32 million in 2025. And on top of that, they have no money saved. They will receive no boost this year like the Cowboys, the Ravens, or the Cardinals have. It is probably the worst situation to be in, and that's why Denver is so handicapped this offseason to really improve their team, and they're going to have to swallow those massive hits this year and next year before they really get into a period where they can try and build this team up even more and get into a healthy salary cap situation with their team. But that is without a doubt the worst one. Another one that's pretty beneficial on how it all worked out is with the Las Vegas Raiders. With quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and the possible suspension that he will be dealt with and will be handed out to him from the NFL for performance enhancing drugs, allegedly would be a dead money charge that would have been $28 million per year, but was reduced to around $17 million per year to be spread out over 2 years. So they get that reduction because of the suspension. They don't have to pay off the guaranteed money that they owe him because, again, of that suspension. And now they save about $24 million this year from that post June 1st designation that they had on Jimmy Garoppolo. So very fortunate there for the Raiders. Don't have a very solid quarterback after that, but they don't have to pay Jimmy Garoppolo a lot of money basically with those reductions because of his suspension and because of the designation of June 1st. And also, lastly, around here, another team that received a big chunk of money from the salary cap in a boost this year would be the San Francisco 49ers by releasing Eric Armstead. It was a massive loss, obviously, for them because of how much he's meant to them, but they will have to take up a dead money charge of $10 million in 2024 and another $15 million in 2025. But they will save about $18 million this season, and with that savable amount, it brings their salary cap situation this year to about $24 to $25 million this year. So it is so beneficial because they obviously have to get those negotiations done with Brandon Ayuk. You don't want to lose him. And now with this boost coming in from the release of Eric Armstead, you can sort of have more room now to work that out, or maybe trade Brandon Ayuk and get some more benefits after that as well with having him off of your books. Things to consider there with the San Francisco 49ers. They at least now have a better chance of doing it, but they did have to lose Eric Armstead and a massive piece to their defense. So with that being said, from the list that I just gave, which team sort of benefited the most with this cap situation and getting that uptick in a bit of extra money from these post-June 1st designations? I would probably have to say it is tough. I want to say the 49ers or the Raiders just because they got a good amount of money and they're not really handicapped too badly after their designation like the Saints or the or Baltimore, who didn't really get a decent amount back from Odell Beckham Jr. There's also Miami with the post-June 1st designation release of Xavier Howard. They save about $18.5 million this year and only a dead money charge of $7.4 million. So they're another one that benefited a lot from that designation. But I would probably give it to the 49ers just because they now have a bigger possibility of extending Brandon Ayuk if that's a route that they want to go. Is it enough to pay him now $30 or up to north of $30 million per year after the wide receiver market was sort of reset? That's a different question. That's a different realm of possibility for the 49ers if they still aren't able to do that. But at least now they have a better chance of doing it. And of course, you have to trade off Eric Armstead, but at the same time, I think that is much needed because next year they're going to be over the salary cap by a good amount, and they have more negotiations to get to with Brock Purdy and other massive pieces to their roster as well in 2025. So this has helped them, I believe, the most to stay near the top of the mountain in the NFC. They obviously want to continue with this roster, or the majority of it, and working around the salary cap will be probably their biggest issue to try and get most of these guys extended, but they now have some more breathing room with this designation from Eric Armstead, and hopefully they benefit off of it. Hopefully they keep this team together, at least to win a Super Bowl. That's obviously the ultimate goal for this team that has been hanging around the rim but hasn't gotten that ball in the basket just yet. But those are some of the salary cap boosts that some of these teams received because of these post-June 1st designated releases. Very beneficial to some, but unfortunately for others, not as beneficial as it might have seemed. But we're going to head into the last break of the show, and when we return, we're going to stick to the NFC East and talk some more about Brian Daboll, the head coach of the New York Giants, taking up now play calling responsibilities in 2024, with his job maybe being at stake now with pressure being mounted on more and more after the seasons that he has had. Should he take the play calling responsibilities now to sort of save his job? I'll give you guys the details on that when we return in just a few seconds.